Have you found that you've suddenly been losing distance? And it doesn't matter whether you're 8 or 80 or anywhere in between. Let's have a look at some of the things that could be going on that are not related to age, they're not related to strength, they're not related to mobility, they're related to things that you can address yourself in your golf swing because there are a number that can critically hamper your distance, your ability to hit the ball the distance that you want to. Hi, my name's Peter Knight, and I've created this channel, Peter Knight Golf, to help you play the best golf you can. Today, we're going to have a look at how we can plug up some of those distance leaks.
So as I mentioned in the introduction, the real cause of these loss of distance is things that are related to the swing. So that can be poor setup, increased tension, trying to do things like chasing lag, all of the things that you know that can contribute to gaining power, perhaps, not all of them of course, but doing them incorrectly. So let's take them sort of one by one, address them, and see if we can't get some of that distance back for you. The first thing we're going to have a look at is posture. So when I set myself up, my upper body needs to be tilted forward and not slumped. It's like, imagine that you're driving a car and the axle's bent. It'd be a pretty rough ride. And the same thing happens in the golf swing. When you're setting yourself up, if your upper body's rounded over, then it's going to be a rough ride. It will restrict motion. Now, it'll restrict upper body motion. It may also restrict hip motion as well. So we're not optimizing what we're capable of in the first place. So when I set myself up, I'm trying to keep my body as tall as I can. As we age, we'll tend to get a little bit tight through the middle of the spine, between the shoulder blades, the thoracic area of the spine. So that will tend to get a little bit rounded. We can't do much about that. What we can do is try and keep the back as straight as is reasonably possible. So if I stand completely upright here and I tilt forward, I'm trying to hold the form with my upper body as I address the ball, and now I'm just going to unlock my knees. So now when I'm setting myself up, my body feels nice and tall, and I'm going to have a lot more freedom with my upper body rotation, my spine rotation. One final thing. So often I hear golfers sort of talk about knowing the importance of keeping the head down, and what they'll tend to do is they'll tend to drop the head. Now my spinal alignment's out because my head is down. When I set myself up, one final thing I'm going to do is, rather than lifting my head up, I'm going to retract my neck a little bit. And what that'll do is that'll also organize the form of my spine a little bit better. So when I'm setting myself up, I'm tilting forward from my hip joint. So my lower back is nice and flat, and my upper back is also reasonably flat, and my spine's sort of in line with my upper body. So I'm not sort of setting up slumped, which I see really, really regularly. One of the biggest killers in golf in terms of freedom of motion and even distance is just general tension. Now, most of the time we'll think of tension through the hands and arms, but it can even be through the rest of the body as well. What we need to do is we need to have some tension in the fingers so that the body's not going to tighten up, but at the same time, we need to have this freedom through the wrists and through the arms and through the body as well. When a lot of golfers hold the club and start to swing, they'll sort of feel like they can keep their fingers tense and their body tense, or their body free and their fingers loose, but neither of those is going to work. So what we need to do is need to practice, one, holding the club correctly, but secondly, is just having this feel of moving. So I don't really feel like I'm using my hands at all, but the fact that the club's moving around my wrist just means that the club's traveling at a different speed to my arms. And you can even see that my body's moving. So I've got this freedom through my ankles, my knees, my hips, my spine and my shoulders. Everywhere I've got this nice free motion. So I'm really taking all of the tension out of my body. Then if I start to make that motion a little bit bigger, so I've still got my fingers closed firmly on the grip. There's no looseness, there's no movement with my fingers on the grip. But at the same time, I've got this freedom through my body movement. When the club swings down and through, I'm taking that same freedom into a bigger swing. Now, when I am a lot more, say, loose jointed or free jointed, not the fingers though, I'm going to be able to be more centered with my body movement and also better balanced. So keep the tension out. The third thing we want to talk about is this idea of lag and how it contributes to the golf swing. When I swing the club away from the ball, when my hands get to about halfway back, in my backswing, my hands will reach their peak speed, or my arms will reach their peak speed. From there, they're going to slow down because they're going to get to the end of the swing and then change direction. So if I move, when I get back to about that halfway point, the club wants to keep going. So it's the club's motion that's hinged my wrists rather than me hinging my wrists. Now, when I'm at this point here, the club is now trailing my arms, particularly as I start my downswing. Now, because my arms and the club are moving at different speeds, that's going to mean that this angle between my wrists and my club are going to change. As the club gains speed, that angle is going to open up. I don't want to make any attempt to try and hold on to that angle whatsoever, because if I do, it's going to really interfere with the motion. And when I'm thinking from the end of my backswing to impact is only going to take you around about a quarter of a second anyway, then manipulating it is next to impossible. Certainly, it is impossible if I'm looking to get a consistently good result. What I can do, however, is have this sense of when the club's trailing my hands, so it's trailing now, it'll catch up, and now it's past my hands. Now, my goal is to time it so that the club with my driver catches up in line with my lead arm as I'm striking the ball. Now, things like watching yourself on video can show you whether or not you're getting that timing, but even something like holding the club up in front of me, I move my arms through to here, I can see that where the club's catching up to being in line with my body, and then it'll keep going. So I'm getting that sense of how is my body helping to move my arms so that the club trails as it absolutely should. So again, what I mentioned before about that tension in the body, this is critical for actually keeping that lag. If I'm deliberately utilizing my hands to try and throw the club at the ball, then that trail or lag I'll lose very early. If I'm deliberately trying to hold on, then I've got very little chance of squaring the club face and the ball will go all over the place. So I want to keep the motion nice and free. So now we've got good posture, nice relaxed sense, and then just getting this feel of the lag, and I will take that shot every day. Nice and straight. Keep watching and enjoy it. So a lot of players will hold the follow through and watch the ball till you finish. It's a dead giveaway they've hit a good shot. I think you probably just caught me doing that. So monitor those three things. So we looked at having a very good posture to start with, which is going to allow your body to move nice and freely and correctly. It's giving yourself the best chance before you even start. We could even add, make sure you're holding the club correctly as well. The second part is the tension and making sure that your body is active but not tight. It's not sloppy, which would have it collapse, but my fingers are firm and the rest of my body is active but free to move. And the third thing is this idea of lag. It's just the club moving at a different speed to my arms. So if you record yourself, have a look at those three elements and then practice them, you'll find that not only will your distance come back because you're striking the ball better, but your distance will come back probably because the club's going to move faster because you're moving more freely. Anyway, I'll look forward to hearing your comments about how those things, plus your suggestions, have helped you gain more distance.